Well, and so you were just in Asia, and obviously
Yep.
Asia for Hawaii holds a very specific interest, and we're very much kind of culturally aligned and geographically close as well. So tell us what is happening in the startup scene in Asia. What was your impression?
So the places that I was just at were Taiwan and Singapore and Malaysia, but we've also spent time in a lot of other places. I was just recently in Korea. We have a team member in Beijing, and I spent a fair amount of time in Japan. So it's different stories in each of those places, but particularly there's a lot of government interest in figuring out how to get their version of Silicon Valley rolling. Singapore's been doing that for a while. Malaysia and Korea are starting to do a lot of that, very significantly. Korea actually has a program right now that's matching $9 to $1 with certain venture capital investments. I'm not sure that's a good thing. We'll see.
9 to 1. You hear that, Carl? Where's Carl? 9 to 1, Carl. Wow.
China is a completely different story. I think most people don't really understand how far along China is, but China has really, really large companies like Alibaba, Tencent, and Baidu. WeChat is now being used by, I think, over 500 million people, not just in China anymore. In fact, our team uses it to communicate with folks all over the place. So there are very large companies in China that are now public entities. A lot of people may have heard Alibaba just went public, or is, filing to go public at around $100 billion valuation, and is equivalently the size of, I think, Amazon, eBay, and maybe PayPal combined. So very vibrant ecosystem, lots of startups, not always super sophisticated in how they're doing business, but China is probably the second largest entrepreneurial ecosystem and arguably the most competitive ecosystem in the world. And that's not just a China story. I think there was a story I just heard today about a company that's doing an Uber-like competitive service in San Francisco, but the taxi drivers speak Mandarin. So a lot of those billion speakers in China aren't all just in China, and they travel a lot. In the top 5 to 10% of China is very high net worth and travels globally. So I think there's very different stories in the combination of geographies in Asia. Japan's a much different story than maybe China or Korea, but still lots of stuff going on there too. And so we're just trying to figure it all out.
What do you think the opportunity is for folks like us here in Hawaii, folks that are running accelerators like Blue Startups or other folks? I mean, you have a specific strategy that you're executing on, and you can fly around the world and do that, but what about us normal folks? How do we interact with those economies?
Probably a lot of cultural connections for a variety of folks in Hawaii with many of those geographies. Certainly proximity-wise, you're closer than the rest of the US, and you're probably almost there on time zones. Many of them may visit here for tourism reasons. A lot of those economies have issues going on with ecological and green systems right now. China in particular has a lot of cities with really bad air quality index, and they are definitely spending money on green solutions and energy solutions. I don't know, you may still need to go there to participate in some of those ecosystems.
Yes, we're going to have to get on that
point. But kind of being a bridge between the States and Asia, you may be well positioned to do some things that US entrepreneurs are not, or mainland-based entrepreneurs.